Hello. In this short video, I am going to show you a refactoring of one of the modules of week 8 from the Plutus Pioneer Program. I first start stripping down the Cabal file under the sole reason that as I am recording this, it takes CPU time and compiling Haskell files is also CPU intensive. So to speed things a little bit up, I'm just stripping down the module. If you have this under the version control from Git, you should never worry about deleting things. That's the whole purpose of Git. So I only have the TokenSale module and the two model and trace files for the tests. I will also strip down on the spec.hs everything that I am not going to work on. And on the spec model, I am also going to reduce the amount of code the amount of automatic tests I'm going to generate. This is all to speed it up. So to give a quick test, I do Cabal REPL test. And it recompiles what it needs to. And if I just run the main function, which executes all the defined tests, it goes over the cell and the model. And it runs, as I just declared, only 10 tests. So everything is working fine for our start. And now to the actual code that I will be working on. Okay. There's the TokenSale file. Now this is a very short contract and it's already condensed. However, I found this definition of every endpoint quite verbose. Now the reason this is done is to use this contract also on the Plutus playground, where you actually need to define each endpoint and its input in very basic types. However, if you are only testing this on the command line or writing your own client, you don't need to be that explicit at this point, and you could use the Haskell type system to actually reduce a bit of your code. It's also a great practice. So what is it that I'm proposing is indeed to reduce all this repeated code. And as you see, it's all the same. So I could actually change, let's copy this function to a simple interact function that instead of taking an integer, it takes the TokenSale redeemer. And on the definition, it becomes simpler. So it takes TokenSale. And here, instead of constructing the redeemer type for the state machine, I actually just pass the redeemer because that is an argument. And with that, I have extracted these 4 functions. Now, when defining the schema, the blockchain actions, I can do the same. So now I have the interact endpoint, and it takes the full TokenSale redeemer as an argument. And with that, I am again saving all these endpoints. Finally, for the use endpoint, instead of offering 4 endpoints, I have 1, which is my new interact prime. And the reason I need the interact prime is because I still need this wrapper around the error handling. And that is all. And I can delete all these other endpoints. Haskell will take care of this working. Oh, wait. See, I'm calling here my interact function, the one I just defined. So this should compile. To give it a quick test, I do cabal REPL. Yes, and I find the first warning is that now I don't use the unquery function. So I could delete that in my file. My editor is also telling me that this is too much. But the code compiled. So I will do a quick reload to see. And this time it compiled without warnings. So right now, everything is working well, at least compiling. Now I need to change the tests. So the first thing I'm going to change is the trace. Here we are calling each endpoint. And what we need to do, so first we know that our TokenSale is on the namespace. So we can access all the functions we defined on the TokenSale module. I'll make this a little bit bigger. And as I mentioned, each endpoint only exists individually as the interact endpoint. So set price is now the interact endpoint. I still take the wallet handle, but now I need to pass the full redeemer. I take the set price redeemer, and that's all the change. Again, this refactor moves the use of the endpoint to the edges instead of functions defined on the contract file. Here again, I would use the add token, and I will call again the interact function. I need a buy tokens here. I'll do this mechanically by tokens. Let's change this up here to the interact. Much interact. And for the withdraw, it's the same thing. Now, because the withdraw constructor doesn't take a tuple but two ints, I get rid of the tuple. Interact. And that should be all the changes I need to do. I will give it a quick try, REPL test. Now it probably complains when it compiles the test because I have only changed the trace. But I just need to test if it is working. Yes, okay, it doesn't compile everything else because it now complains that I have not refactored the model. It claims that these endpoints are not defined, no such field. So let's do that straight away. Go to the model, make this a little bit bigger. It says starting on line 137. Yes. So here I have set price and I am calling with the integer p. And this needs to be changed to use the set price redeemer. I would do set price p. However, as you notice, there is a repetition between set price here and a set price that was defined earlier on the model source file. Let's go a bit up. It's defined here. So I need a way to tell Haskell that I am referring to the set price in the TokenSale module. And for that, I am going to do a qualified import. I do import qualified rect. Right, yes. Week 8 TokenSale. I say as TokenSale. And now I can be always sure that Haskell knows which constructor I'm using here. So I have the set price. Here I need the token, the add token. Okay. And again, I need the buy token. I'm also on N. And here I use the withdraw. And again, I don't need to use the tuple. Do some formatting. And that is pretty much it. So I will retry the compilation. Okay. Now it's telling me I forgot something else. So first I need to also make the redeemer an instance from JSON. And oh yes, I forgot. All the endpoints are now interact. That's it. And I wanted to do on the TokenSale. I need the redeemer to derive from generic from JSON and to JSON as well. Let's do a reload. Okay. I actually need to do a exit GHD and compile again so that it recognizes I changed TokenSale. Forgot to save the file. Yes, now it's compiling TokenSale again. All right, inspect model trace, and I can run again now the main function. And it all works. So in a quick summary, the ref of this change is to strip down a bit our cabal file. My editor reformatted this, but in general, we just add to the redeemer generic from JSONs. We save ourselves 4 functions that describe the endpoints. For one, that's called interact. We reduce the schema to just have 1 function, and the endpoints again also use 1 function. The spec.hs reduces files that we don't use. The model, we import the TokenSale qualified so that we can use the constructor of the redeemers, and then we only call the interact endpoint. I reduce the amount of tests to speed these things up. And for the trace as well, I use the interact endpoint and send the redeemer instead of passing individually integers. As I said, this is helpful only for the reasons that I am going to test on the command line, and I'm going to write later on my own client. If you're going to use the playground, you will still have to use these early definitions of the endpoint. These definitions, in my case, when I move to my own client, will happen there, not on the main contract code. And that's it. I hope you liked this and learned something from me. and I would happy to listen to any of your feedback. Bye.